Hello, welcome to the first episode of It's Culture Babe. I am your host. My name is Rose, and I am here with my great friend Obi. Thank you so much for making time today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So, yeah, we tried to record this before, but we got interrupted, and we tackled some really great topics like Palestine and Israel and what's happening on social media. But before we would get back to that, we met when you were helping me find mosque. The first time I came to Istanbul, remember? You
Yeah,
helped me
yeah.
find my way to Hagia Sophia.
Yeah, back then I used to work in travel agency. Yeah, I
Yes.
remember that. And you passed from the street and you're like, "Hi, hello, where's Hagia Sophia?" And then,
Yeah.
yeah, I helped you find it. And then we get to,
Then we got to talk. But why I mentioned it is because one thing that I really remember from that time is that you asked me when I'm from, and I said I'm from Czech Republic, and I'm like, "Are you local?" And you're like, "What did you say? Do you remember?"
I remember that it was a mixed story.
Yes.
No, I'm actually Syrian,
Yes.
but I have the citizenship, but I live
Yes.
in Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
something like
Yeah.
this.
Yes. I remember you
Yeah.
said, "Well, I'm Syrian," and then very fast after you said, "But I have Turkish citizenship now," and I found it really amusing. And I remember I said, "Well, I'm actually a Ukrainian, but I have Czech citizenship now." And then we both started laughing because
Yeah.
that's how how immigration works.
Exactly. And actually, when I met you, I was just like newly took my citizenship. It was like 2 months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Just
I
two months
just two
before
months
that. Uh
before
huh.
I met you, I had my citizenship. So I was like very happy about it, and finally someone asked me where I'm from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's actually really great because you speak three languages, right?
Yep.
And you have lived in how many countries?
In almost 4 countries,
Which one are those?
Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey.
And I thought also UAE.
I was very little, so
Uh-huh.
it
So it doesn't count.
doesn't count. No, it
Okay.
doesn't count.
Mm.
Like even Jordan, I was like uh, 8 years old, 9 years old. I kind of still remember stuff.
Mm.
But UAE, I was like maybe 2, 3 years, so I
Mm-hmm.
really don't remember stuff.
Mm. So the most part of your life was where?
In Saudi Arabia, I was raised there and I studied there.
Mm. And then you came to Turkey because you wanted to study, was it?
Yes, to continue my studies because I finished high school in Saudi Arabia and I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to continue all my life there, all my studies there, all my so I came to Turkey to study engineering. It's better than education in Saudi Arabia.
Really? How so?
Yes, I don't know about universities, but
Mm-hmm.
I can tell from the school at my like back my time, uh, really the study like the education system wasn't that good. You know, teachers were very easy with you.
Mm-hmm.
They were strict, but on stuff that not related to studying. But
Uh-huh.
when it comes to studying, they were very easy.
So like behavior, they were
Yes,
strict.
they're strict
Uh-huh.
on behavior and
Uh-huh.
what to do in the school, and you should do and you shouldn't do,
Yeah.
and go to your class. If
Mm-hmm.
you're out of class, you're in trouble, kind of thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But in the school, uh, I think they did their best, but the thing because the whole educational system was weak, even the teachers maybe didn't get the right education
Mm-hmm.
to how to educate us, kind of thing.
Uh-huh. So you're saying that teachers knew the subject, but they didn't know how to teach?
Yeah, kinda. Yes, yes. And some teachers, they uh, they didn't really uh, know the subject much.
Mm-hmm.
That's another problem. For example, my English teacher, he didn't know much English, you know?
Same.
You
That was
really
that was same in Czech Republic sometimes.
like I get kicked out of the classroom because I fixed what he said. Like he made an
You
error. He
corrected
made a yeah. I
your
corrected
teacher.
him. Like exactly.
Yes.
How can you correct me? You know.
Yes. Yeah. So, for example, speaking about languages, like I remember in Czech Republic, people would sometimes complain that their teacher only knows like one more chapter compared to the students. They're just like one chapter ahead of them.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yes.
that's what happens because the teacher go study what he have to teach you, then
Yes, and
come
then
and
comes back.
teaches you, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, then I finally like finished high school there,
Mhm.
and then it was a hard decision where I'm gonna go continue
Mhm.
my studies. And then for some reason I chose Turkey. I
Mhm.
was like 16, 17 years old.
You were 16 when you had to decide where you're gonna study.
Yes, yes.
17. That's really young. I find it like really difficult at that age.
We don't know young.
You
We
guys don't know
don't, we
young.
don't know young. We have
I don't know
responsibilities.
if I want to go into this topic of like what
Okay.
age is appropriate for what in Saudi.
Yeah, no, you can have it in like more like Middle East,
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Syria, Egypt, something. I think we take responsibility in like young age.
Well, you can also marry young,
Well,
especially women,
that
right?
yeah, that was a bit old
Like in the
in
past.
the past.
Mm.
It still happens. It
Hmm.
still happens, but rarely.
Mm-hmm.
Not like before. Yeah.
Yeah. But for example, just on this note, because what we are like hinting on is like young marriage right of girls in the past. I was surprised to find out that actually in many states of the United States, it's still allowed to marry girls as young as 13 years old. So, West would look to like Gulf countries and they will be like, oh, how can they do that? They are just kids. But what people don't know that it's actually still legal in the United States to marry technically a child. I want to know is so coming to Turkey with your background, is it easy?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no. Hell no, man. Especially when I came in the end of 2015. I am sure maybe there was only one person who speaks English, and unfortunately, it wasn't possible to meet that person, you know. So I had to ask the security, the police. I had to ask people
Mm-hmm.
about like how can I get to this place,
Mm-hmm.
but no one knew the language. Like I tried to speak Arabic with them, no
Mm-hmm.
one knew Arabic. I tried to speak English, no one knew
No
English,
one English.
and I didn't know Turkish at that time. Yeah,
Obviously.
because it's like my first time I come to Turkey. I
Yes.
like before that I didn't even came for a vacation or anything, you
That
know.
was how long ago actually?
Almost 9 years.
Almost 9 years ago.
Yes,
And not much have changed
eight
when it
half
comes to
9 years.
foreign languages in Turkey.
Well, no, actually, I can notice that there's more people know English
Yeah,
now. Yeah,
these days.
at least basic
Mm-hmm.
English. At
Mm-hmm.
least basic English. Uh, because like literally before when I first came, I had like a lot of struggles,
Mm-hmm.
and especially how to get to somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
Directions.
I open map, I open Google Map, and Google Map shows me something. I go there, but it's different than what I want.
Uh-huh.
So I start to ask people, and people they didn't understand a thing from what
Uh-huh.
I want, you know. And it's like you know that when people are not allowed, like not able to talk,
Yes.
and they still just like with the sign language and like
Yeah.
with hand gestures and
Yes.
stuff, and like so like yeah,
Mimicking. Yeah.
mimicking is
Uh-huh.
like yeah, from like
Uh-huh.
he's like with his hand he's like go forward
Uh-huh.
and then right and then
Uh-huh.
left. I'm like yeah, thank you, and then I go, and it was a disaster, man.
So that sounds really stressful, by the way. Did you come here alone?
Yeah.
You came here alone.
Yes.
With like your little bag.
Actually, it's worse. I had a big bag. I had a bag like I thought it's gonna be easier, so I kind of brought everything I need and
Mm-hmm.
everything I don't need with me. You
Uh-huh.
know, it's like I'm moving to Turkey,
You went to Turkey.
so I better bring everything with me. I brought everything with me, and I had like a big suitcase
Mm-hmm.
and a big backpack, and
Like a proper immigrant, by the way.
yeah, exactly. And oh my God, man, it was
But you managed, and I find it very difficult because, for example, for me when I came to Turkey, it was very surprising that although it's such a big like hub, right? It connects the world, and even the Istanbul itself is divided into European and Asian side, right? So me coming here, I realizing that people really don't know much English. I understand that it's better now than 8, 9 years ago, but still, really they don't.
yeah,
I was very surprised, so I can't really imagine how stressful it must be trying to arrange anything, right?
yeah, yeah.
And this is 16 million people in Istanbul. For people who are listening to this and they haven't been to Istanbul, it's 16 million people
Actually, it's
officially.
actually 18.
18 million people.
18 million people officially,
Yeah.
and there is about like if we're talking only about Turks,
Hmm.
there is 18 million people officially, and there is around 5 to 600 non-recorded citizenship, like people, Turk unrecorded,
Unofficial, yeah,
yeah,
like.
unofficial
Uh-huh.
Turks. And if you're gonna talk about the immigrants,
Yeah, right.
there is like only Syrians. There's like 5 million
Uh-huh.
in Istanbul.
Unregistered
No,
or
no, I'm
registered?
talking in total, registered and non-registered.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's like Afghans, like maybe
Right.
250,000. There's Ukrainians,
That's true.
Russians.
Right
So
now, after the war,
yeah,
Ukrainians and Russians are actually drinking tea together in Istanbul.
yeah, and there's also Palestinians. There is Egyptian. There is
Mm-hmm.
Yemeni. There is like
Mm-hmm.
Africans.
Right, Africans. True.
So as you said, like that Istanbul is divided to European and Asian sides.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, and what that tells us that literally Turkey, especially Istanbul, is in the middle of the map.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the middle of the world. So
Mm-hmm.
what also that tells us that it's the center of the world,
Mm-hmm.
literally. So I found it really odd for Turk people not to learn English. Yeah, but what I have understood that their pride is so high,
Mm-hmm.
and they think they won't need another language but Turkish.
Mm-hmm. And that is complete misconception, and I just don't know how you can have such a conclusion because today, even for example, working with computer, a lot of things are in English, manuals, traveling, doing
Well,
business.
yes, like I can tell you that Turkey and Turkish culture is very big. They have their own movies, they have their own TV shows,
Mm-hmm.
they have their own, and 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 they are doing good on these terms.
Yeah.
Like they're doing good movies, good TV shows, songs,
Yeah.
singers, musicians, artists. It's a very big and strong country, and I think that's why they have this much of pride that
Mm-hmm.
like we don't need English or we
Mm-hmm.
don't need, you know. I keep telling my friends like uh, it doesn't matter if you don't need it now, you will need it in the future,
Yes.
because anything you learn, it adds up to you,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's language, whether it's a skill, whether it's an information.
Yeah.
So the more language you learn, the better.
Of course.
You know,
Yes.
like for example, you and me now knowing English, we can communicate with half of the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Me knowing Arabic
Mm.
is with the other
Yeah,
half
other
of the
half of
world,
the world.
you know?
Yes, that's true. And like I know companies that will hire you because you speak a certain language, not for your resume,
Not for your
not for your
skills, no.
skills score. They
Yes,
need the language, and
yes, that's
they will
true.
pay you well just because of the language. So yeah, that's that. I want to talk about overcoming adversity, which is obstacles, right? That
Hmm.
come in life. Can you remember some hard times or something you had to overcome coming here or living here?
Uh, well, first, communication communication with people, how to communicate with people.
How long did it take you to learn the language?
Well, to be honest, I came to Turkey and then I sat in a hotel until I found a language center. Like it took me 5 days until I found a good one.
You had to do it yourself, like alone?
Yes.
Man.
Yeah. Of course, I used to Google and translate and stuff, and then thanks to Google Translate, it really helped me on the streets. But yeah, there wasn't much people who have the patience.
Yeah,
the
that's another
patience
thing.
to wait for me until I
To
write what I
translate.
want, and then they write what they want.
They feel uncomfortable.
They feel uncomfortable.
Yes. So they are in a hurry.
So, like, I think it until I learned the language, and listen to me carefully. Yeah, it took me around 6 to 8 months until I learned the grammar's language, but I wasn't able to speak.
So you learned the passive
Yes.
part of the language, but not the active one.
Not the active one. And it took me another
rookie mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. It took me another like half a year to be able to speak a little bit properly. You know, like I was able to speak, but it wasn't like in order what I used to say. It was just I used to say stuff and people used to make the effort to put what I say up, you know, to make the sentence. And unfortunately, some people put it wrong and they understand me wrong. And that used to put me in another obstacles. But I don't blame them, of course, you know.
Man,
but
that's hard.
What made it like this for me, or I think even for you or for like most foreigners, is that because Turkish language, when you want to speak it, you have to reverse the sentence and speak it.
Right, the syntax is different. How words are put after each other.
Exactly. For example, you say how words are put after each other, you say it. Imagine you're saying it.
Each other words are put or something
Exactly,
like that. Yes.
exactly. So my mind, I literally used to have headache. I swear, I used to have headache from speaking and thinking, how am I gonna speak it, and like revert the sentence and then say it. And I really can sense how it used to take, how much energy it used to take from me.
Yeah, learning the language itself.
Yeah. So let's say it took me a year and 3 months, year and a half to start be confident with the language, you know.
And you went to school for that. It was like everyday class, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was 5 days a week, everyday class. And yeah, for a whole like 6-7 months, it was like a very intensive course. And the mistake that I made, you know, that's why I mentioned that I stayed in a hotel until I found the course place, or like language school. And that was a mistake I made, because I took a hotel, I booked a hotel for a week, I found the language school language, and then I registered myself in school language.
Language school.
I'm sorry, guys. I still need to work on my language.
You're reversing into Turkish.
I don't know. I'm in my head now. I'm speaking 3 languages, you know, but the output is English.
It's English, yes.
But yeah. So after I registered and everything, I went on the journey to finding a house. And unfortunately, I found a house. It was like, Istanbul is so big, man.
You had no idea at the time how huge it is, right?
I had no idea. I was like, okay, it's here and I'm here. It's in Istanbul.
It's in Istanbul.
Like,
what can
my
be
house
so
is
hard?
in Istanbul and the language school is in Istanbul. So no problem. But damn, it was a big problem, because the house that I rented was almost 3 hours away from
from your school.
From my school. and I was like okay with it at first because I really didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I took the house and I bought some furniture. As I mentioned, I came at the end of 2015,
Mm-hmm.
so it was winter time.
Oh,
Yes, I said I furnished the house, but to be honest, I just bought like one sofa and some things to just like
right.
because I don't know
I
anything, you
just want
know?
to say you were like 18 at the time.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
18. You came to a different country. You didn't know the language.
No, no, sir.
They didn't know your language. You had to find your own place, your own school alone. Like I'm just saying this because like that's very hard. And I think most people, I believe the absolute majority of people would not do that because it's scary, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And I really remember many times I just wanted to sit in the corner and cry, you know, like
I would.
out of
I
frustration,
would.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kept going. I
Mm-hmm.
kept going. So after I found out that I need to travel to my school, and then I
3
need to
hours.
from school I need to travel back home.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Weather started to get colder and colder, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then I asked myself, I was one night I was very cold
Mm-hmm.
at the house, and I was like, man, how can I heat myself? You know, how like I have all the blankets, all my clothes on me, you know, everything, and it's still cold, you know. And if I put my finger out of the blankets, it freezes,
You had no
literally.
heating in the house?
This is what I have discovered that there's there's there should be heating on the wall, you know, which
Uh-huh.
is called combi here. And then I started to call people, and then I remembered that I had a cousin who used to live in Turkey, and then he traveled to Germany and whatever. What
Yes.
I called him,
What did he say?
he said like, look for something should be on the wall is
Yeah.
metal and something, and I looked all over the place, and I was like, there is nothing like this. He's like, it's impossible. I was like, I swear. He's like, you have to have it. I'm like, really? There's nothing. He's like, how old is the building? I was like, I don't know. The fuck should I know? How can I know this type of answer? I was so frustrated. I was gonna cry. And he's like, okay, GG to you. I was like,
What is that
what
GG to
is
you?
that GG to you? Is like, good game, good game, man. I was like, thank you. What should I understand? He's like, you don't have heating in the house.
Oh, really? So anyway, it was the first winter.
It was the first winter.
So the first winter was one of the worst winters, I guess.
Yeah, and living in Saudi for my whole life, just going to Jordan and Syria in my like in summer we used to go there,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So because we used to go there in summer, I didn't see appropriate winter before.
Okay, so
Uh,
this was your first experience with winter.
with winter at all, you know. And like we had cold in Saudi Arabia. We There was some places there it was like so cold. We used to go there to experience the cold weather, but it wasn't something like here,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I want to go back to things that happened because you said that you really felt like giving up at sometimes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because it was too much. But you said that you just kept going. So, what motivated you? Where did you find the strength? Because this is something I think many people need, right? One of the biggest problems that we face is that we don't have the coping skills, right? We don't have the right skill how to overcome things.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, what motivated me is that it was kind of like, let's say, 60% my choice to come to Turkey
Mm-hmm.
and to continue my studies here. So this is the first thing that came to my mind every time I want to quit. Like, it was part of your decision and you made that choice. You can't quit very early, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always kept telling myself that it's only the beginning, it will get better. It's normal because it's your first time. Like, was my first time traveling alone. It was my first time going to completely different country,
Different environment,
different
different culture,
environment,
right?
different culture. Like even if at the time, even the time was different. There was like 2 hours different
Mm-hmm.
between.
Yeah.
So everything was different, and I used to remind myself like it's just like the beginnings are hard no matter what you do. Uh,
You really did that? Like at the age of 18 you were already that mature that you just kept telling yourself, it's just the beginning.
yeah.
Beginnings are hard. Really?
Yes,
You did that?
yes, yes.
Wow. Were you always like that?
I think not always, but I think I started to get mature way before my age, because like we had some incident in the family, and suddenly at the age of 10 years old, like when I was 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 10, I had to take responsibility that no one should take at this age.
At the age of 10,
Yeah,
your responsibility is school and play with kids.
yeah. No, your responsibility is just not to break your toy. That's the biggest
Biggest
that's the biggest
responsibility.
responsibility you should have.
Yes.
But I am the only boy in the family.
Uh-huh.
At the time, I had 3 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They all were like older than me. I was the youngest uh, kid in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So all this responsibility came on me. My dad was like, "Hey, listen, from now on, you have to take care of your sisters and mother. I might not be around
Mm-hmm. So
for
that's what you heard at the age of 10, yeah? Like,
yes,
I might not be around. You are the man. You might become a man of the family
yes,
at this
yes.
age.
If anything went wrong because there was like some stuff, I'm not gonna talk about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if on another episode. But yeah. So when I heard that uh, like this things, and actually he gave me a big paper.
Mm-hmm.
It it's
He
crazy.
gave you like a
He gave me a
like
big
checklist
paper.
or something.
Yes, like people needed money from my dad,
Uh-huh.
and people who dad needed money from.
At
Like
age of
at
10,
yes,
you
and
were given a list of.
yes, yes, and he's like, if something happened, you go to this and this and this, you take those money,
Mm-hmm.
and then you repay this and this and this, and
Uh-huh.
what left, you keep it with you,
Uh-huh.
and then you go to this person,
Uh-huh.
you take this and you do this, and I was like, I was like on the edge of crying and breaking out, and
Obviously.
like focusing and like listening to everything, and like, yes sir, aye captain.
You must have been
You
feel like
know,
really scared or anxious at
I was
least.
very scared. I was very scared. I remember that night, I, like, after my dad told me everything and gave me the paper, he went
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, for now, at least for a week, I'm not here.
Mm.
And then I ran to my room, and I remember I put my head under the pillow and I started screaming and crying and saying, what the fuck should I do now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, but you feel at that point like sped up your maturing because
I I
something changed within you
I
at that
had
point.
to,
Mm-hmm.
like, for that night didn't I don't remember that I slept that night.
Mm.
I just was thinking and thinking about all the possibilities in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And like at that age, I don't know how how I was thinking about this like stuff and possibilities and like results and
My perception is that we don't have that much understanding of situations of like adults, like
yeah.
money, parents not being able to be
No,
here.
you don't have capacity
No.
much. Sometimes I feel sad this happened to me, but sometimes I'm very grateful that this happened
Mm-hmm.
because it showed me that what the mind of the human, what is the brain of the human is capable of. You
Mm-hmm. What do
know,
you mean? Like what our mind is
like
capable of?
for example, like you don't know your powers, your limitations, your anything until you put under a test or a big pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when this happened, For 2 nights, I was really struggling sleeping and I was overthinking. I was just crying. I didn't eat properly.
Okay.
I was so worried about my family, you know. But then I suddenly started to act more manly. I started to take responsibilities. I had the keys of the car and I started to,
You were driving at that
yes,
age?
my dad
Could
used
you
to,
even see over the steering wheel?
no, I used to stand. I used to stand, like I used to drive standing,
I
not
can't I
sitting.
can't believe this. I think at this point our listeners are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is surreal. That like incident, that experience
Mm,
made you certain way and it forced you into more maturity,
yes.
which we are not saying that it's the right thing, but it is what it is. Then coming here, you were already quite like understanding. Yeah, because frankly, when you come to foreign country and you face a lot of obstacles, the normal thing to do is to complain.
I didn't have anyone to complain to, you know? Like if I'm gonna complain to my family, they would think that like, yeah, you're a pussy, you just like can't do it or whatever. And of course, because since I was the man since 10
Mm-hmm.
years old, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want anyone to think I'm otherwise.
Yes.
I had all these wrong ideas in my mind, like
Uh-huh.
how the man should be and shouldn't
Right.
be, because
You cannot show weakness, what you're telling
I
me.
can't show weakness. How
Mm-hmm.
can you be weak? Weak is for women,
And
not for men or something.
thank you.
I'm
And so,
sorry.
wow. And so,
Uh,
is this a cultural thing? Is this common that boys are raised to not show a weakness and to always appear strong?
well, yes, I guess yes, because when any guy or like boy, let's say boy, cries, immediately the mother or the father goes like, "Hey man, don't cry.
That's
Why
still
are you crying?"
happening.
That's still
That's
happening,
still
unfortunately.
happening.
So when you keep hearing "man don't cry, man can't cry, man doesn't do that," so you come to the point where you have to just surpass your feeling, like just
Mm-hmm.
like whatever you feel is
You
bullshit.
suppress it.
It's
Yes.
like is you just
You're not
throw it
you're
in
not
the
allowed
trash.
to have that.
You're not allowed to have these feelings.
No.
I think they didn't do it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They do it of misunderstanding how you should like treat your son or like something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think many of Arab are not Arab. I'm not gonna say. It's like I'm gonna say like the how can I say
You
it?
mean the area,
For example,
geographical
like
or?
geographical area of Syria,
Uh-huh.
Jordan,
Right.
Palestine.
But I guess we can say, so
So
let's say Middle East.
let's say Middle East,
Okay.
yeah. In this geographical area, unfortunately, because and that might bring us to Palestine
Mm-hmm.
and for these areas, since day one, the political situation wasn't very stable.
Mm-hmm.
So there is always they like families used to like just immigrate to another places. You just used to go here and there. So you had to just be a grown kid,
Mm-hmm.
kind of.
So there was a lot of movement between countries.
You can say like people used to go search for their freedom.
So it kind of forced people to be more mature and
Yeah,
take the responsibility from young age,
100%.
right? Compared to, for example, in Europe.
Like
Definitely for a while now we've been very safe.
yeah, we're like in Europe, for example, the mother and father they don't fight in front of the children if you know say
That's where
something.
you're wrong. But it's very different, definitely. The
Yeah,
approach to upbringing kids, freedom in the family, or like how the dynamic of the family. But also for you, the ties are very strong,
hmm,
right? Like the connection of the family is very strong compared to the Western world, where
yeah,
like the kid just gets its own freedom. Parents try not to interfere that much with their decisions. I'm generalizing, of course, but
hmm, hmm,
we can definitely say that where in your case, again generalizing, like in Middle East, family has a say in your decisions.
yeah, because we are too bound to our
Mm.
families, you know. We have it even in religion,
Mm.
in traditions,
Yeah.
and like you know that family is is what you have in life. Because, you know, life is just like a boat. You are like moving, you know, and while this boat is moving, you meet another boats, another sailors, another like people passing by.
Yeah.
They come, they stay for a while, and they pass by. But who stays with you is the people who is in the boat.
Uh-huh.
So, and the people who's in the boat is mostly your family,
I see.
something like this, you know.
Is this something you're like taught, or did you just like make this up
No,
on
I
spot?
just made this
Oh, okay.
about on spot. Yeah.
I thought since young age you've been taught.
No,
So,
no.
son, you are in the boat.
No,
Okay.
no. I just made it on the spot.
Okay.
You know, as a
Okay. But one more thing actually I want to ask when it comes to again motivation and overcoming adversity. Do you have something that helps you like gather the strength? I know, for example, for me, dealing with people when I don't know the language, right? Especially like language can be a big thing that separates people because without common language we really don't understand each other. Hell, we don't even understand each other with knowing the same language. So without it, it's harder, and there's automatically mistrust.
yes.
In my opinion, if you don't speak the language, we don't trust each other because we don't know what's up. So for me, I feel insecure when I have to deal with this stuff. When you feel insecure, you feel a bit scared, right? And it's harder for you to push through things and really like pursue. And you might have a lot of setbacks, and you will just have to maybe do things several times until you get what you want. So, how do you do that while still maintaining somewhat positive attitude?
Well, for me, because I struggled when first I came, I decided to not focus on what is the people reaction and just focus on my let's say on my goal, which is like going to this place, arriving to that place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that what you feel reflects on you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I used to feel insecure and ask people help, they used to look at me like in a way that I used to feel more insecure,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to feel hopeless, and
Yes.
you know. But then I was like, fuck it, man. Why am I doing this? I just want to ask about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go ask whoever,
Mm-hmm.
and until I get to this place. And it's just like I used to go around like smile on my face, big smile on my
Mm-hmm.
face, feeling confident, like, excuse me, here,
Mm-hmm.
Nussel, and like
Mm-hmm.
some words Turkish, some words English,
Mm-hmm.
and with gestures. And I used to find people responding better to that
Mm-hmm.
because I think because I was confident and I had a big smile on my
Mm-hmm.
face and I was like very friendly,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so they felt more comfortable to help me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was insecure,
Yes.
and I was afraid to go ask him,
Mm-hmm.
so I think they saw that there is something wrong with my face,
Yeah.
and they were afraid from me.
It's quite automatic, isn't it?
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Of course, I didn't realize that in one night. The more insecurely I deal with people,
Yeah.
the more
Like problems you experience,
problems I
probably.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But the more optimistic I be, and like the more like friendly I be, the more like, yeah,
Confident.
confident, the more like people helps me, and I found people that really generous, really like nice,
Mm-hmm.
kept me going, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it gave me this idea that
So actually, by changing your approach, you
mhm,
change the outcome of it, right?
yes,
It wasn't like, no, people are mean to me, they are like this. They're like, it's like I'm gonna change something within me, and this is
yeah,
how I'm gonna
yeah,
do it, and then the feedback from people around you change too.
changed. It really changed. Of course, I had this times when I thought that people are really mean to me.
Mm-hmm.
Is all Turks like this?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something, and this overthinking? But then I was like, it doesn't matter if they're mean to me or not. I need people to help
Mm-hmm.
me. I need to talk to people. I need to
Yeah.
engage with people. So
Yeah.
I learned the language. So actually, I need people,
Mm-hmm.
and people might need me.
Yeah.
I can't think of people that they are like harmful or they are like
Mm-hmm.
just mean or, you know. So I had to really change my perspective. and it wasn't easy. It took a lot of time. It took a
Must
lot
have
of
taken
time. Yes,
effort.
yeah.
Like changing yourself is like the only way to go
To go
anyway.
exactly.
But it's hard. It's not easy to do.
It's so hard, but once you're able to make one thing, to change one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and especially when you see the result,
Mm-hmm.
it feels the whole world to you. Believe me, like it feels that you achieved more than what you achieved in your whole life.
Yeah, and you feel more in
Of
control.
course, because you're alone.
Mm.
There is no father, there is
Mm.
no mother, there is no one is affecting your decision.
Yeah.
It's all up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to you to fuck it up. It's
Mm-hmm.
up to you to build it from zero.
Yeah, and it's really very empowering. I understand it's very scary, but really there's no achievement without pain, some struggle, some
Sacrifices.
sacrifice,
Sacrifices.
anything. And when you think about it, it's really just waste of time and energy thinking about how other people are or how other people treat you. Like you can do it all you want and you can be unhappy with other people's behavior or what's happening to you, but it is a waste of your energy and your time, and you have only so much energy and so much time every day. You have to decide, okay, I'm gonna do this or am I gonna take control. Why do you think it's hard for people to take control over their life? Why does it even feel like uncomfortable or like unpleasant?
Because we are used to our comfort zone, and that's why they call it comfort zone. Comfort zone is what you are used to and what you know, and the people you know.
Hmm.
Sometimes people are holding too much for other people,
Mm-hmm.
although they're too mean to them. But
Yeah, that's
just
true.
because they know them, and
Mm-hmm.
just because they are afraid of letting go, and or like going through the experience to meet other people or to meet different behavior or to try different things, they keep themselves in this comfort zone, and that's why they find it very hard to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
But once you break this cycle, it starts to get easier and easier. Of
But
course, it's
what do you mean? We love our comfort zone because it's comfortable.
of
Obviously,
course.
that's what it's called. Taking control over your life. So let's bring up an example. You live in a house and you really don't like that place. Maybe it's bad neighborhood. Maybe like the rent is too high, and you're miserable.
Hmm.
Now, taking control of your life would be go and find a new place, but that requires some sacrifices. Maybe it's financial, it's your time, you will have to deal with people, it might not go immediately. Taking control of your life, there's a straightforward way to do that. But many times people will prefer to keep themselves as a victim, just complain about their situation. So my question is, why is it so hard for us just to do what's obvious instead of just suffering?
Well, I think also you said you had an answer while you're talking because we complain.
Uh-huh.
When you complain, you get even more comfortable,
Mm.
and because you complained, you felt relieved. So you felt that you are a little bit closer to solving the problem,
That's true. There is
because
some energetic
you had
response.
yeah you had this weight
Mm-hmm.
on your shoulders. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I need to change, and I need and I need and I need and I
Mm-hmm.
need. Then suddenly I see Rose, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you ask me how are you, and I'm like, I'm not good. I need to do
Mm-hmm.
this, and I want to do
Mm-hmm.
that, and I need. Then I feel relieved because I told you
Yeah,
what
you
is
shared
bothering
your
me
misery with me.
exactly. So I don't take any steps
Uh-huh.
because I felt relieved.
Especially if I'm understanding, isn't it?
Exactly. And then 1 week goes by,
Mm-hmm.
and I keep feeling the same
Yeah.
weight, and then I talk to X person, and then
Mm-hmm.
I complain. I feel relieved, and then I talk to Y person, I
Mm-hmm.
complain. So what happens is now I'm used to complain,
Yes.
I'm used to not taking actions,
Yes.
and I'm used to being in the same misery place. So I think the worst poison
Mm-hmm.
we feed ourselves is complaining.
I agree. Complaining is
You
a
can, of
problem.
course, you can share your problems, but you can share your problems to find solution,
Mm-hmm.
to actually take this solution
Mm-hmm.
and trying to apply it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to work on it,
Yeah.
to solve your problem,
Yeah.
you know. But complaining is when you just talk and want people to feel sorry for you, uh, and not do anything.
Not do anything.
Yeah, that's one thing that what makes it very hard for us to do anything in life, you know. The other thing is overthinking. When you
Yeah.
when you just when you know you have to do this certain thing, and you are thinking, what if?
Yeah.
Like, what if I changed my house and I also didn't like the house? What if the house owner was a bitch? What if,
Yeah.
these what ifs, you are just putting blocks after block after block after block.
Yeah.
So now you have to break all these what ifs, all these blocks, to reach and do and changing of the situation.
You're creating actually like even more obstacles for yourself. Like you are your own problem at that
Exactly,
point.
exactly. And they
Um,
say it like the only thing is stopping you is you.
is you
Yeah,
100%. And there's this unpopular opinion, but I absolutely agree with it that oftentimes we keep ourselves in situations because, and I'm sorry, we actually enjoy it, whether you're aware of it or not. You're enjoying it. I'm not saying you're happy
of
because that's
course, because
different.
you're the victim.
Enjoying and being happy is two different things,
Of
right?
course, many people enjoy being
Yes,
miserable,
it is the truth.
because other, like, you can being miserable, you can prove to other people that you are the victim
Yeah,
of
yeah,
something,
yeah.
of someone, of anything. And the more you do this, the weaker you get, the more uh, controllable you become. How controllable, you might ask? Like, I mean, like,
You mean like that someone can control you?
someone or even something or some situation start to control you. For example, if you are like this, if it rains, you're like, fuck, it rained. I can't go to work now. I can't do this, I can't. And
What a
then you,
horrible
what a
weather.
horrible
The
weather.
whole day is
Why
ruined.
am I like this? Why my life is like this?
Oh, my favorite.
Hello, ex person. Look what happened to me. I am like, I want to go to work, but
And the
then
bus
it
was
rained, and
late,
then the
man.
bus was. And you start to complain and be the victim. By doing this, the other person will feel sorry for you because we're human. We feel
Yes.
empathy. We
Yeah.
feel like sorry. And when we do this, or also sometimes out of kindness, because you can't tell them stop being a pussy and man up and get your
You
umbrella
can.
and go out. Most of the time you can't, because the guy is already calling you crying. You don't want to make him like a
I
crybaby more
mean,
than he is. In some situations,
in some situations, yes. But anyway, thank you so much again for making the time and sharing like big parts of your story. It was definitely very interesting. And until next one, thank you.
Thank you for having me.